Is the British royal family getting the best revenge on Harry and Meghan without even trying? Yes, so yes, the royals are living their lives hanging out with Taylor Swift, getting selfies with her and Travis Kelce. We also had the recent state visit with Japan and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, getting essentially a seat of honor as the second highest royal woman in attendance and even wearing a new tiara. And although there have been a lot of health struggles this year, of course, within the British monarchy, it still remains a very, very influential and popular force. Meanwhile, Harry and Meghan, I feel like their public image is sort of descending into apathy. People are just simply annoyed by them. The utter failure and incompetence of ARO, I find just very, very funny from just a business perspective. But I really feel like when it comes to Harry and Meghan, yes, there is still somewhat an interest in them. But I feel like among people, there's either apathy or just outright dislike. And the like percentages are getting pretty low, which really, really does spell disaster for them. And despite their claims that, oh, they just wanted privacy, they just want to live their lives in freedom, I think Harry and Meghan are really the ones who are the most trapped. So we will get into this today. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network, my name is Brittany. I provide y'all compelling royal commentary. So if you guys want to hit that subscribe button, that would be absolutely fantastic. I would love to have you back. And I do have an upcoming visit to Germany and the Czech Republic around Christmas time. And if you're curious what we will be doing, of course, the day everybody arrives, we will have a fantastic dinner, which is included. And then I'm hoping those who get in early, because most international flights arrive earlier in the day, that we can go to the museums, maybe the Museum of Berlin. That is where the bust of Nefertiti is found. I don't know why. I've always really wanted to see that, though. No clue why. No clue. I even have a little figurine of it that I bought way back in the day in Germany. I was just looking on my shelf to see if I have it. I don't have it. But I am really excited to see that. There's also maybe a palace that we could check out because I love traveling and I love doing it with you guys. It's so fun. In a couple weeks, I will be heading out to Scotland with a crew, and we are so, so excited. And I'm really looking forward to the one coming up in December as well. Again, we're going to do the Christmas markets. That's the main thing that the tour is designed around. However, I'm one for checking out whatever everybody else wants to. In fact, it looks like in Scotland, we're going to check out the Royal Yacht Britannia, which is docked over there in Edinburgh. So if any of you guys are interested in checking that out, I will put a link in up above. So when it comes to this video, I was actually formulating this. And actually, there was actually a post that got me thinking about this. It was from Renee Kierborn-Rennick, who said, basically, they say living well is the best revenge, and Prince William is showing the grasping Duke and Duchess of Dog Biscuits how it's done. That was the inspiration sort of for this video. And I have to agree, living well is the best thing you can do. And the royals really are doing that. In fact, they're doing that so publicly, it's almost kind of laughable how out of the loop Harry and Meghan are in many, many ways. The greatest example, of course, is Taylor Swift at the moment, because Prince William took his children, George and Charlotte, to the Taylor Swift concert. They met Travis Kelce, they met Jason Kelce as well. And what's really, really interesting about this and what it really highlights is that Meghan Markle also went to Taylor Swift's Eras tour in Los Angeles. But of course, nobody knew she was there. In fact, she had to basically call up People magazine and had them put it in their copy that not only was she there, she danced her way to Shake It Off or something like that. And it's like, it's kind of weird because it's like, how desperate are you to get this just simple mention about being in a concert? Who cares if you were there or not? But definitely doesn't sound like Taylor Swift made any effort to interact with Meghan Markle. In fact, we know that Taylor Swift even sort of dissed Meghan Markle and says like, yeah, no, I don't want to be on your podcast, Meghan, which is really, really entertaining when you think about it, because obviously Meghan Markle really wanted Taylor Swift to be on Archetypes. And Taylor Swift was like, no, I know where my true bread is buttered. So let's take a look at what they said, because I think what they said is so awesome. And it really does show how Harry and Meghan really truly do everything wrong in many ways. So it is part of their podcast called New Heights. So let's go ahead and take a listen to a little bit. I've moved ahead to where they talk about the royals, and I might just put it on a bit of a faster speed just so we can kind of give it through on a quicker basis here. So let's begin. And this is section Meeting the Royals.
I didn't realize this because obviously we're backstage meeting him because he was there with little George and Charlotte, and they were an absolute delight to meet. Wasn't sure if I was supposed to like bow to them, curtsy, just be an American idiot. And
I love this little bit. It's very self-deprecating. So obviously, William and the kids were there at the concert, so they met them beforehand. And I love how he's like, I don't know what to do. I felt like, a bit of American idiot, which is so, I think, how most Americans feel. They're like, they don't know the protocol, they don't know what to do. But he's like, they were so cool. And the thing is that is interesting here is I don't think Harry and Meghan would necessarily get the same reaction, even though they would want the same reaction. And that's because obviously the royalty means something when you are actually royal. And what I mean by that is working royal. When you are a working royal, there's just a status that you have that gives people a greater deference to you because you are somebody who can call a US president and get your call returned. You can call anyone in the world and get your call returned. You can get so much attention and respect. Whereas Harry and Meghan, even though they are royal in terms of that they have royal titles, they will not get the same level of respect and deference because they're not working royals. And of course, that's the life they chose. That's the whole irony of this whole thing. They chose this life, and yet they also desperately want to get back to what they were doing before, which was being royal. And of course, that dream is dead now. But the royal family still, regardless of how especially the Sussex squad portrays them, it is an honor to meet royalty. It is just very exciting to meet royalty. It's just something that you don't have every day. And Harry and Meghan do not have that same gravitas simply because they decided to throw away the trappings of royalty essentially and try to schlep it in Hollywood. And in the Hollywood world that they now inhabit, Taylor Swift is a queen. They are not. They're just the peasants. I don't know if you call them peasants. You could say they are the court jesters, maybe would be more appropriate because they're a bit of a joke, to be quite honest. And I don't mean that to be mean. And I should also say, too, the royal family is not looking for revenge on Harry and Meghan. Even though I started the video with that, I meant to put this disclaimer. The royal family is not just looking for revenge. They're just living their life and showing Harry and Meghan that, yeah, you can try to be cosplay royals all you want, but the title, the actual trappings of royalty, being royal, being a working royal, that just matters so much more.
Shake their hand.
They specified, they said,
sup, dude?
We did get warning because honestly, we don't know the actual.
Yeah, we wanted to be polite, especially on this side of the pond.
But they said that because we weren't at like an official royal event, we didn't need to bow or curtsy.
Yeah.
I like how they were very interested in that. I just do find that very, very sweet that they were just so concerned with making sure they did everything right, which I kind of sort of love.
If it would have been like an official meeting of royalty event, then it would have been that. But I did still address him as Your Royal Highness.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And I've never felt emasculated.
Dude, honestly, I've never.
I love it. I have never felt so like I've never felt so emasculated. Prince William made him Jason Kelce feel emasculated and not in a bad way. You're here, you're just kind of like stunned. These are like important people. Their pedigree, you could say, goes back centuries. And so you just feel it's just very, very different. It's just a very, very different reaction. And you can see that with them. They're like, we don't know quite how to respond, but we want to give you deference because, this is your country and everything. But it's like, wow, I don't know what to do. It's just, again, one of those things I think reflects something so great about the Kelce brothers here in this instance is that they were just shocked. They wanted to do the right thing and they wanted to make sure they were following all the protocols and that, yes, Prince William made Jason Kelce feel emasculated because Prince William is just so masculine and royal. You just can't deny it. And I don't think, just my theory, but I don't think Harry would get the same response. Just saying.
Seen you give
that was the closest I've ever been.
I've never seen you give someone that much respect. You put your beer like 10 feet away from you.
I didn't have it in my teeth when I met him.
And somebody did, I saw this on, I think, Twitter or something. Somebody did post a video where, yes, Jason is holding his beer by his teeth and walking through the Era store. I'm like, okie dokie.
You're right. Thank you.
And
you
they were just,
to enjoy your kingdom.
They were wonderful people. And that's what it's about. Obviously, literally part of a monarchy, royalty. Yeah. Hard to be a down-to-earth human being, I would assume.
I can't imagine.
So, yeah, they're part of monarchy, but they are awesome people. They loved meeting them. And what I want to point out here and what I think is so key is we hear all the time from Harry and Meghan's friends how great they are, how wonderful they are, how amazing they are. These two guys spent probably at the most, let's say 15, maybe 30 minutes. I imagine it's more like 15 or less with William and the kids. And they were impressed by them. And you'll hear more about Jason's reaction to Charlotte, which I think is just so, so sweet, is that they just had, I think, they were just very impressed. And that's something you can't fake, especially for strangers. These guys have no incentive at all to tell us how great the Waleses are or the Royals family. They have no incentive to do that. Whereas Harry and Meghan's friends do. Harry and Meghan's friends do. Those people who are getting benefits from Harry and Meghan do. I feel like they're always the ones who tell us, oh, how great Harry and Meghan are. And you don't always get it, though, from everyday folks, or, these guys aren't every day, but in this particular instance, in a brief interaction, the Royals put on their, you could say, best behavior and impressed these American idiots.
But came off that way completely.
Very genuine, very cool. Taylor,
we're honored to be there to meet Taylor, or see Taylor. I think they had already met before.
Yeah.
But
well, they actually performed.
Yeah. Again, I just love how, again, impressed they are. And they do go here and share a bit, obviously, about the whole Bon Jovi thing as well. But we'll skip past that a little bit because I want to get to more of what they talk about with this interaction. But I just love, again, they're like, they're so cool. They're so awesome. They're so down to earth. And that's what you want to hear because, again, we always hear Harry and Meghan's friends tell us how down to earth they are. I don't feel like we hear it from these type of people who have, but we haven't really heard it from somebody like Jason and Travis, who just had a brief interaction one time. And yes, it is something where obviously they were impressed. The kids were impressed to meet Taylor Swift and everything. But there's also a difference too, whereas Harry and Meghan, every time they meet somebody in Hollywood, they're trying to angle themselves to get something, or at least definitely that's how Meghan is. And I've been listening to a couple of shows and they've been talking about how in Hollywood, every friendship is a connection. How many real friendships do you have? It's sort of up to debate because a lot of the people, they're just friends with you just because they want to make sure that they get the right deals or right presents or whatever. That's what they're interested in. They're not necessarily interested in friendship. So this type of meeting is very, very different because the Royals gain nothing from being nice to them. Yes, you get a good report like this, but the Royals don't gain it. They're not trying to make business deals with the Kelce brothers or Taylor Swift. They're just there to enjoy the concert. And they're also there at the end of the day to just go, hey, thank you so much for visiting our country. That's what William is with the kids they're doing, is they're being ambassadors for the UK as well and giving these guys a great reflection of people who are part of the monarchy system.
They got him out of his shell, and sure enough, he went up there and they ripped it, and they said he had a blast. And I'm just like, I don't know if any other prince is doing that.
I love that. I don't know if any other prince is doing that, and I love that he says that because, again, yes, other royals do that, Travis Kelce, because, most Americans only know that the British monarchy exists. Some of them probably don't even know that. But there's so many other monarchies, and yes, a lot of them do have a lot of fun. I feel like Crown Princess Victoria, I remember watching her at the Swedish Golden Jubilee because I was a member of the press back there. And I just remember her just popping along to the music. And I was like, she loves this. And so you do get royals who are just very, very engaged. Like, it's great to photograph Crown Princess Victoria. She is a very, very animated person. I think Maxima, I haven't been on more of an individual event with Maxima or seen her all that close, you could say. So I can't really tell, but I feel like Maxima's one of those people too, who would just give you a lot of expressions and is very expressive when they do things. And Victoria's the same way. I don't think Prince William is, but again, it's like that he went up there, he did something maybe he was a little bit uncomfortable with and rocked it. Is something that I think especially Americans really appreciate. Because again, this is a great report from two American guys. Probably don't give a rip about the Royals. I think Jason said in the beginning, I don't give an F about the Royals. But Prince William impressed them. He was gracious, kind, easy to get along with, and they appreciated that.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, in terms of royalty, like, you like to kind of, I don't know. It seems like they like to sit back and the show is the show, but he was cool enough to be a part of it. But that just shows you how, personable he is.
Yes. And again, they're like, he's personable. He's great. And yes, I think Harry and Meghan had those qualities too, but we don't really get to see those anymore, especially on Harry, because everything Meghan and Harry have to do is so contrived, because I think especially Meghan is so terrified of getting an antagonistic audience or potentially antagonistic audience. She very much cultivates something where she won't get booed, nothing bad will happen, and that she can have her perfect situation. Whereas William is a bit more somebody who is able to go along with the flow. Meghan is not that person.
I think he's probably always questioning whenever something like that happens, because anything he does is going to be all over everywhere. So, but Yeah, he did it. So shout out to him.
Shout out to Bon Jovi.
Shout out to Bon Jovi
for calling the prince.
Yeah. Yeah. Shout out to Prince William. He did an awesome job.
I gotta say, Prince William was a fantastic, but the highlight was Princess Charlotte. Prince George was great too. She was so adorable. Like I cannot.
She was a superstar.
Express how I don't know. Maybe it's because I have 3 girls now. It was
probably as little.
She was.
I love that. So I'm just pausing just because copyright issues and everything, but I absolutely love that he loved meeting Princess Charlotte. And I think she will in some ways be the star of the monarchy. And it is kind of hard because George, I think, has a bit of that William in him. He's a bit shy, probably, a bit like Diana was too. Just a bit shy and just very, very aware of what his future role is. Meanwhile, Charlotte, I think, is just naturally more spunky. And so she is just like excited and stuff. So you'll hear, and I love that Jason's like, I have girls now. So he almost appreciates that girlness from her a bit more because he has his own daughters. So he saw some of his daughter or daughters in Charlotte, which I thought was very, very cute. So let's keep going.
She had fire to her. She was asking questions. It was that was the most electric part of the.
Yeah, I love it. I love it when parents ask their kids to be present, be vocal.
They encourage them to take lead in a conversation. Absolutely.
So they are complimenting Catherine and William's parenting right there. And again, these are 2 guys who probably spent at the most, again, 15 to 20 minutes with William, George, and Charlotte. And they saw well-raised children. Regardless of royalty or not, they're well-raised kids. They feel open to ask questions. They're very excited. They're very respectful. And so I don't think that, and I couldn't be totally wrong here, but I don't think they would say necessarily anything super negative, but they also are saying like, I think this is very genuine. This is not made up. And again, these guys really have no incentive to say that. They even say at the end, yeah, we're not sure if we're really supposed to talk about that, but we're talking about it anyways. So again, you get this situation where it's not something where Harry and Meghan could have potentially get an advantage. So they're trying to be nice to a person. Maybe they wouldn't really be nice to just because they want the advantage later. Meanwhile, William, George, Charlotte are just living their lives. And the Wales' kids are showing off. What I have always suspected is that they are very, very well behaved, which includes, of course, that means good parenting, good discipline. The discipline works. It's effective. I mean, even you see the kids getting off that carriage. They stand in a line and they wait for mom. That is a mom who has her house in order. Now, I can't say anything about Harry and Meghan's parenting because I've never seen them parent. I've never seen them really with their kids. So we can't talk about that at all because it simply doesn't exist. And we don't have, again, anyone outside Harry and Meghan's friends group that makes any comment about their children. What Harry and Meghan say and what their friends say about their kids is worthless. This means 1,000 times more because this was a short interaction with people who they did not know, who are from a different country and culture. And the kids made a fantastic impression.
You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Just a good meet and a picture and to keep it moving. Now, listen, let them have a moment. Let them feel comfortable in talking to people.
Yes.
There's nothing worse than a kid just walking in and just being.
Let's not shit on kids.
No, I'm shitting.
Yeah. So Charlotte apparently is very much a talker, which I find it super adorable. Can't wait to see her just walk out into royal engagements where it's going to be awesome.
Yeah, parents not encouraging their kids to do that.
I agree. That was awesome.
If anybody's doing it right, Prince William's doing it right. So thank you, Your Royal Highness. It was awesome meeting you.
Prince William and Catherine doing it right. Yes. And what this goes to show too is that William is a very presence in their lives. So he's not sort of an absentee dad. And we have some reports of royal fathers who have been a bit like that. And so even though without mom present, who oftentimes mom is more the day-to-day disciplinarian, and we were actually talking about this in our small group not too long ago, is that mom is sort of the most of the time disciplinarian. And then when dad comes in, he's kind of the extra level. Dad will figure out an appropriate punishment for that. But obviously, William as well is a presence in their lives because they're very well behaved around him too, which means that he is very present. He is very much part of their parenting. And so again, we get these hints, but it's great to see these guys say it. And especially as Jason has 3 daughters. So he is actually able to share with us again, even just that brief interaction, that Prince William and Catherine are doing it right.
Very much.
And Charlotte and George.
That's right.
Yeah. So we're not sure if we're even allowed to tell you that.
Yeah.
So
we'll find out later.
Edit team, we'll let you know. All right.
I love that. We don't even know if we're supposed to talk to you about it, but we're talking to you about it. So here we go. So love that. So I just wanted to wait there to make sure there wasn't something else in the video that I should be aware of or share. But I just thought, again, I just wanted to go over that because that is amazing. That is really, really amazing. And again, guys, I love it because it's such a good bit. It's such a great reflection on Catherine and William and their parenting and their children. And like I said, we get reports about Harry and Meghan's parenting from Harry and Meghan and Harry and Meghan's friends. Not really from people. I mean, we don't even have reports of somebody who has randomly ever met their kids, which is super duper odd when you think about it. Because obviously they interact with someone, but also at the same time, we never see Meghan out with her kids, which again, to me proves that every time Meghan is papped in Montecito, it's because she is arranged to be papped in Montecito because she is never caught with her kids because she has arranged it so she can leave the kids at home because she doesn't want the kids there with her getting a smidge of attention. Because I know there's a lot of surrogacy, rent a kid, all that stuff. I don't like any of that. What I think is Meghan Markle's true issue with the kids and why she doesn't want them to be a very public face. She does say it's for privacy, and I can completely respect that, but she also violates their own privacy constantly by sharing things about them. So I think the real issue is that if she is a narcissist, as has been alleged, my theory is that she is just really, really nervous. Number one, that the kids are going to get more attention than her because naturally that's kind of what happens. At some point, Catherine and William, their kids will get a lot more attention from the press than they will, especially as they start dating and get older and get married and everything. The kids will just get naturally a lot more attention, just how it works. And also, again, this is just my theory. I don't think Meghan spends a super long amount of time with, I mean, because they travel a lot without their kids. They are never spotted out with their kids. Nobody ever says, we never even get a report of they've been spotted out with their kids. And we do get reports like that on Catherine and William. So at some point I got to think, how much time do you spend around your kids? And I wonder if part of it is sometimes as Meghan's not sure her children will act in the way she wants. And so she doesn't really want to bring them out because she is worried that they'll have a temper tantrum or do something she doesn't want them to do. And those sorts of things I think is another fear that Meghan deals with, which all parents deal with 100%. But I think Catherine and William show as well is that even though they had incidents with Louis a bit, especially during the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, that was just a little boy being a little boy for sure. And Mama handled the discipline there very, very well, all things considered. But when it comes to Harry and Meghan, I mean, we just simply don't know. And all we get are reports from basically friends. Their friends are the only people we ever get from reports from time to time. And so it's just sort of odd, but I think again, this shows too where Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce stand. I think they are firmly in the Team Wales's camp. They are firmly there. And the other interesting instance to bring up, and I did a whole video on Sophie's new tiara that she wore, which is the lotus flower. It's not a new tiara, but it's new to her. And I'm so excited. Catherine has obviously worn it, the Queen Mum and Princess Margaret. So I am so excited to see Sophie out in a new tiara. She 100% deserves it. There's also implications for greater tiara sharing among the family, but that's not what I wanted to talk about here. But you can check out my video on the tiara here linked up above on my fashion channel, Royal Fashion News. It's all about royal fashion, as you can tell by the title. Anyways, mostly. I may slip other things in there from time to time. But the other thing I wanted to point out is that when it came to the state dinner with Japan the other night, not only did Sophie get a new tiara, which again is a pretty huge thing, especially with the British and their implications now that maybe there might be some more sharing going on, which I am all for because the British have a fantastic collection. And unfortunately, it spends far too much time in the vault because Queen E kind of ran things by you get whatever I loan you and that's it. Like you don't get anything else. You can't borrow anything else. You can't do anything else. You get, the one or two tiaras that I allow you to use and then that's it. Other royal families like the Swedes and the Dutch tend to share theirs very liberally with a few exceptions. So I am hoping the Brits sort of move towards that model because it makes tiara watching so much more fun because you are never ever sure what somebody's going to show up in because there's so many options. That's what I love about it. So anyways, Sophie, not only did she get this new tiara, which I think shows her position within the family and everything, she got something else too. Because she was the second highest ranked royal woman at that event, or at least from the British side, she got to sit right next to the Emperor of Japan. Actually, Catherine was in that same spot with the president of China, Xi Jinping, several years ago. And so, why I find that so interesting is that if Meghan had stayed within the royal family with Harry, if she had decided, well, Harry will give this a bit more time with all these health crises, it would have been Meghan there in that seat. In fact, she might have even had a better tiara, although I think her wedding tiara was pretty good. She might have had a different tiara she could have worn. She would have been the second highest ranking woman there. She would have been in a spot of honor. But again, Megan decided, nah, you know what? Trying to schlep it in Hollywood, making Netflix documentaries that bomb is better than wearing a tiara and being at a state banquet where you get to be served some of the most exquisite food in the world on some of the most exquisite china in the world, in the most exquisite presence in the world in terms of royalty, international leaders, all these sorts of things. No, 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 no. Netflix and Spotify, Lemonada, they are all better than that. And there's, I think, somewhat the self lie that Harry and Meghan and their own followers tell themselves, which is that freedom, quote unquote, is better than being part of the monarchy. But the truth is, Harry and Meghan aren't free. They've just exchanged one overlord for another. Because guess what? When they're part of Netflix, when they have a publishing deal, when they're part of Spotify, you still also have to work. And you don't necessarily get to do everything you want to do. And here's the rub with Harry and Meghan, because they left the royal family and they wanted to do their half in, half out thing. And the royal family's like, no. But the thing is that they wanted the freedom to do essentially whatever they wanted. But that's just not life. That's not anybody's life. Generally, unless you're Elon Musk and you have billions upon billions of dollars sitting in the bank account, you can't do whatever you want. We are all subject to someone in order to make money. So, like here on this channel, I am somewhat responsible for my audience. I'm responsible for making content for you guys. Now, you're not holding it over my head making demands, but I mean, the honest thing is, if I don't make content, I make less money. And so I have an incentive to make content, to make more money, to engage with you guys more and everything like that. Those are the things that I do for my job. We are all held to something. Harry and Meghan didn't want to be held to anything. They wanted all the benefits, yet none of the work, none of the obligations, none of the responsibilities. And really, at the end of the day, I don't think they're more free in this arrangement. And I don't think they're happier in this arrangement. Because I think what the Sussex stands say, I often find, is that, oh, Harry and Meghan are so much happier. Isn't this so much better than being just held to the burden of the monarchy? And yes, the monarchy is challenging, but it also could be a great benefit, because the thing is, you have to give it time. Because Meghan came and thought she was the second coming of Diana and thought everybody should just bow down and worship her. And after a while, they're kind of like, you know what? We see what you're selling. We're just not quite engaged with it. I mean, you're lovely, but you're not this saintly image you're trying to portray. And that's what Meghan's problem was from the beginning, is that she overpromised and underdelivered in many ways, because she set herself up for failure by trying to be too perfect. Now, Catherine has been very quiet throughout her royal life. And you could say, and I've argued, and I think it still holds somewhat, that she probably could have worked a bit more early in her marriage to William. William and her both had a very, very slow introduction to royalty. And I'll do more on this in the upcoming episode of the Crown series, which is sort of a podcast I'm doing. But Catherine and William need to adjust to the new reality of royal life, which is that Harry and Meghan aren't there. And basically, at some point, they're going to be the only working royals there in the UK. And I don't think they've totally thought that through. But anyways, going on. Meghan Markle came to hate her time in the royal family because they didn't live up to her expectations. And honestly, she didn't live up to theirs either. Unfortunately, sometimes I think you set yourself up for failure by promising too much and not being able to deliver. And unfortunately for Meghan, she tried to be so perfect. And of course, nobody is perfect, so she failed. So even though Catherine, you could say, had a much slower route into being a full-time working royal, she never really overpromised anything. She has slowly, organically developed it, whereas Meghan wanted everything all at once right away. And of course, it just didn't work. And Meghan just came to resent everything about it. And Harry and Meghan could have lived very, very well within the monarchy, because I've mentioned this before, although it's been a while. Guess who goes to every big major royal foreign event? Who wears a tiara more than anyone else in that family? It's Sophie. Sophie wears a tiara more than anyone else. She's at Crown Princess Victoria's wedding. She was at Carl Philip's wedding, Princess Madeline's wedding. She was at the wedding of Grand Duke Guadalupe or Grand Duke William of Luxembourg. She will be at probably all the other foreign royal weddings pretty much. Like the only foreign royal wedding that Sophie and Edward did not go to is the one for the Crown Prince of Jordan. That's because Catherine and William have a closer relationship with them, so they went. Harry and Meghan could have had that. I think they would have had greater freedom. The irony is you do have greater freedom as a spare. You just had to live within the confines of that role. And Meghan Markle never wanted to do that. She never wanted to live within the confines. And so she's like, you know what? Since you guys didn't make me queen, I'm going to enact my revenge. But this revenge mission of Meghan Markle, which really has been their whole time in California and all the interviews and everything, like it's really been an epic stab at revenge, has ultimately completely and utterly failed. And the reason why is at the end of the day, the best revenge is living a good life. And I think that's what the royals are doing. Yes, they've had their struggles, but they're still living their life. They're not trying to make inroads in Hollywood and make all these connections and trying to get from the next deal to the next deal and make content and try to keep their heads above water, which I feel like is what Harry and Meghan are doing. Harry and Meghan are just trying to keep their heads above water. They way overshot. I think they bought a house that is too much for their, not only their actual needs, but their actual budgets, to be quite honest, because that house is a money pit, I'm sure, not only in taxes, but in upkeep, their security, all these sorts of things are an eternal money pit that Harry and Meghan might not be able to totally dig themselves out of at some point, because they made the huge mistake of doing this whole Hollywood jump without a decent plan. And they haven't really even been that successful. They've lost millions from Spotify. They probably won't get everything they could have gotten from Netflix. And that's their own mistakes, because as it turns out, leaving the royal family and trying to make it on your own without, you could say, a discernible talent between the two of them, a really, really bad plan, because unfortunately, what Harry was actually really talented at was pretty much being a royal. And I still think he wants that world. He was very emotional outside St. Paul's Cathedral, I think in part because he missed that. And Meghan's like, oh, no, 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 Harry, we can do so much better. But they haven't. The royals are the ones who are getting the last revenge, and they're not even trying. They're just trying to get through day to day, hoping Harry and Meghan don't drop another bombshell. They're just trying to live their lives. Other people appreciate it, and other people who have no incentive to say, I loved interacting with Princess Charlotte. I thought Prince William was a fantastic dad. George is so sweet. They have no incentive to say any of that. They were just genuinely impressed. And I have failed to see anybody who doesn't have a connection or some sort of hoping to get something from Harry and Meghan at some point, really being all that impressed with them, let alone their children, who they really won't let anybody see. And so, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know what you think. Are the royals truly, at the end of the day, getting the best revenge? And is Meghan's whole revenge plot just ending up blowing up in her face? I'd love to get your guys' thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you again here oh so soon. Bye.